Good morning, everyone. My name is Romain Camara. I'm a project manager at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And today I'll be going over the fleet electrification of our medium to heavy duty transit buses and give a short overview of our maintenance vehicles as well. Next slide. So the objectives today for this, the objectives for this presentation is to go over the medium to heavy duty buses. So we have a few objectives to meet at the DOT. So one is to implement carbon reduction solution that meets state legislative mandates and executive order and support the state's goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions 30% by 2030 and 100% by. Another goal is to achieve cost predictability with innovative rate design to support the conversion of the state's entire diesel bus fleet in excess of 600 buses to battery electric buses while maintaining or expanding existing service. The last objective that we have as a department is to enable scaling up of CTDOT's investment in medium to heavy duty highway maintenance vehicles in conjunction with CTDOT's capital plan conversion of infrastructure to be able to support zero emission vehicles and market availability of sustainable vehicles. So here are some of the executive orders and legislative mandates that we have to modify. Primarily, as I mentioned, this required our whole entire fleet to be electric by to be zero emission by 2030 and 30% by 2030 and 100% by 2035. The vehicle in which we've chosen to do this, which is likely to accomplish this goal is through electrification. Another public act is to reduce greenhouse gas emission to 80% below 2021 levels by 2050. Public Act 18-82 also states that we aim to reduce greenhouse gas emission at least 45% of 2021 levels, 45% of 2001 levels by 2030. So we have 80% to complete by 2050 and at least 45 by 2030. So which is about 6 years away. Some executive orders that sort of support our mission here, which directs the entire executive branch state agency fleet to become greener and more energy efficient through an expanded lead by example sustainability initiative aimed at reducing the state's carbon footprint and reducing the cost of government operation. Another one is Executive Order 3 by Governor Lamont, which expands the responsibility of the Governor's Council on Climate Change to analyze pathways and recommend strategies on achieving 100% zero carbon target for electric sector by 2030. This helps with our current docket that is open with Pura to sort of figure out how we're going to get or where we're going to get the electricity to be able to fully electrify. Executive Act 21-3 also prohibits the COT from purchasing to purchase or provide state funds to any third party who purchase diesel buses by the end of 2023. So we're fully engaged in this vehicle of zero emissions, and we're trying to get there in an efficient way. Next slide. So on to public transportation sector, which is the office that I work in the Office of Transit Rideshare. This picture here is one of our new battery electric buses as you see on the road and later on in the presentation. Next slide. So a little bit of an overview of what we do here in public transportation. The CTDOT supports our Office in Public Transportation supports an operation that is a complex, both bus, rail, and transit, and also ferry. CTDOT operating on the transit side, the CTDOT owns and operates a fleet in excess of 600 vehicles statewide. These vehicles delivers more than 35 million passenger trips per year on Connecticut bus transit system. We also contract with 22 other bus service providers that provide other services like Dial-A-Ride, or Express Bus, which helps us extend our reach to other areas of the state where a full transit bus is not typically needed. This adds an additional 200 full-size buses operated out of 14 22 other transit districts, and also 450 smaller transit vehicles, which are paratransit vehicles. Next slide. So our facilities electrification update. This is just providing. So we have 15 divisions, 15 actual facilities that will be equipped with electrification or updated to be able to maintain electric bus operations. So the facility needs to be outfitted with certain switch gears and switchboards to be able to charge the buses. And today we have 15 facilities that are currently engaged in plans for electrification. Out of those 15, 11 has completed power studies. 9 are currently in design. Of the 11 that's completed power studies, you can see where the star is. The CT Transit, all the CT Transit divisions, Greater New Haven Transit Districts, which is on the paratransit side. The Greater Bridgeport Transit Authority also did their power study in Norfolk Transit, Southeast Area Transit. So we've completed 11 power studies throughout the state. 9 of these studies are either in design or in construction as of this year. 3 open pilot locations, which are not on the roads, moving away from the pilot location to fully electrification, which is the CT Transit Hartford, Stamford, and the Hamden Division. And in 2024, we have 3 new pilot locations: the River Valley Transit District, which is in Middletown, the Wyndham Regional Transit Districts up in Wyndham, serving the UConn campus, and also the Milford Transit District, which serves the Milford area. So over the last couple of years, we've been very busy trying to maintain and trying to update all these facilities to be ready for battery electric buses when they become delivered. Next slide. So once we outfitted the facilities with the necessary equipment to be able to once we've outfitted the facilities to be able to handle the actual the charge, now it's to install the chargers. Now we have multiple chargers to actually install by the plug-in chargers J1772 standard, or the conductive pantograph chargers, which is shown here on the screen, J3105-1 standard. So with plug-in chargers, the number of buses that can be accommodated depends on the configuration of the chargers, of course, which are often installed in the depots as the buses are generally charged for multiple hours overnight. Right now, we have 23 plug-in chargers. These chargers are ABB HVC 150 kW rated chargers, and we're using them across our states. That's 8 in Hartford, 10 in Hamden, and 5 in Stamford. With these chargers, it typically takes about 4 to 4.5 hours to fully charge a battery electric bus. A battery electric bus with 525 kilowatt hours battery pack, the ones that we have in the state's possession now. With pantograph chargers, that's a little different from plug-in. Plug-in, you actually have to plug in the regular chargers as you see with the Teslas or the light-duty vehicles that you see on the road sometimes. With pantograph chargers, it's different. It's kind of shown here on the screen. Pantograph charger is like a physical connection of the batteries in the 2 rails on top of the batteries with the pantograph dispensing down from the pole mounted pantograph. That generally takes about 30 minutes to get a full charge on a high rated pantograph charger. Say 450 kW high rated pantograph charger will take roughly about 30 minutes to get a full charge on a bus, based on what's being estimated or told to us by our partners in New York City or what the manufacturer is telling us. So roughly about 15 to 30 minutes to fully top off pantograph chargers. These will, in the future, the DOT department has plans of installing these pantograph chargers at different locations throughout the state. Right now, fully engaged in installing pantograph chargers at the Stanford facility. The Stanford division, Stanford facility, which is the first division to be fully electrified now, scheduled to be fully. The Stanford division is the first division scheduled to be fully electrified by the year 2025. Currently now undergoing construction. So by 2025, we'll have roughly about 28 chargers with 38 pantographs in the main building. We have an additional building in the rear of the Stanford lot that we're building now, which will have house 5 chargers and 11 pantographs. And we'll also have one 450 kW charger, ABB charger, that will be able to do a fast charge there. So throughout the state, Stanford will be the first facility to receive pantograph chargers, and we're looking forward to seeing how that works on our existing buses. Next slide. So on to battery electric bus operation. As many of you may have seen already, we've had a lot of electric buses debuted and deployed throughout the state. Battery electric buses in general, well, what are battery electric buses, right? So there are buses that generally run on electricity and are charged from an external power source. As I mentioned in the last slide, be it either the J1710 plug-in charger or the pantograph charger that comes down and charges the bus. They tend to operate on battery-powered battery propulsion system and other auxiliary system. And they have a lot of more health benefits than its internal combustion counterparts. Currently now we have roughly about, in our current open pilot location, as I mentioned, Hartford, Stanford, and Hamden, we have 28 battery electric buses delivered and operating out of the Hartford division, 24 operating out of the Hamden division, and 13 currently operating out of the Stanford division. These buses are 40-foot and 40-foot buses and 525 kilowatt hours in battery capacity. If you can see the image here, these are how the buses currently look. The new design of the new battery electric buses that we built out in St. Cloud, the new fire plant, and we're taking delivery this year. We're also accepting some other buses for our pilot location, the Waterbury Transit District, which will be getting 10 new battery electric buses. River Valley Transit District will get 2. Wyndham Regional Transit District will get 2, and Milford will also get 2. So these new pilot locations will be getting 35-foot buses, which have a lower battery capacity. 35-foot requested by the districts because of their current operation. So they're used to operating 35-foot rather than 40-foot because of the curvature of the streets and how to maintain their general operation. So by the end of this year, it is looking like we'll have roughly 61 battery electric buses deployed throughout the entire state. And the efficiency of these buses generally range from 2 kilowatt hours per mile up to 4 kilowatt hours per mile, with the average lingering around 2.7 kilowatt hours per mile, depending on the weather. So generally, that's good in terms of how they operate and how much we're able to get a lot of mileage out of them. And this kilowatt hours rating efficiency that I'm talking about, it's also one single overnight charge. So once the buses are charged overnight for 4.5 hours, they tend to have an efficiency of roughly about 2.7 kilowatt hours. Next slide. So we also piloted. So the medium, the heavy duty transit buses is one side of the battery electric endeavor and journey that we're on. But we also have paratransit districts that just run that body on chassis buses, right? So we also started a pilot program for our paratransit facilities. As I mentioned earlier, we have roughly about 450 paratransit vehicles sprinkled all around the state that provide dial-a-ride service and other services that our medium to heavy duty transit buses cannot make. So with this pilot, currently now we have 2 body on chassis electric vans at the Greater New Haven Transit District, 6 at the Greater Hartford Transit District, 4 at Southeast Area Transit, and 1 at the CT Transit Waterbury. So this is just a pilot phase. They range from, based on preliminary reports, they've been ranging from 75 to about 125 miles. And these are the 4 E-Transit 350, the medium rooftop van. So the power is about 198 kilowatt and the horsepower of 266. And the battery capacity is not large. It's roughly about 68 kilowatt hours, which is compared to the battery electric buses, which is about 525 or either 440. These are very small, but for their application, that's seemed to be able to at least deliver certain mileage. So based on our pilot location and how successful this pilot stage is, we'll be able to make a better estimate on how to proceed with these paratransit vans. Next slide. So the other part of electrification is the ongoing support, right? So we coming away from internal combustion engine, which we've done for 100 years, we are really much aware of these buses and know how to operate them. But electrification, it's new, so everything is new at the same time. So we're all essentially going to school on it at the same time. So in order to get a leg up on the game and know what we're getting ourselves into, we partnered with different entities in order to come up with some trainings, right? So the first responder training, we partnered with the OEM manufacturer, where we I just lost the presentation. So,
oh, it's given me a. Sorry about that.
no problem. So we started our first responder training. So the first responder will be partnered with the local manufacturer, with the original OEM, the original equipment manufacturer, which is New Flyer, which and they came to the division and was trained roughly in the month of August alone. We've trained over 200 first responders in the state. So going to different locations, went to the Waterbury, Watertown region, the Milford transit area region, the Middletown, the River Valley transit region, and even the Wyndham area. So we're just providing training to these first responders so they understand the nuances that come with the lithium-ion batteries and the bus itself, where certain emergency in certain emergency, what's the best way to address them? As you know, we had a thermal event a while ago, and based off of that, we're able to gather a lot of information from the OEM, from the NTSB, from other manufacturers and other electrification pioneers in the industry, and put together an SOP and able to provide it to the first responders so they know exactly how to handle certain situations in case of emergency. We also provided operator training to our operators because the electric bus is driving an electric bus. It may seem from the outside, may seem it may seem the same as the regular internal combustion engine, but inside the nuances, the changes in driver behavior affects the range, but also there's certain protocols that you have to follow. So we provided our trainers and our operators full training on the battery electric buses. Also, we provide the same training for our maintenance staff. So the maintenance tech that will essentially be the first line of defense to the electric buses before even the first responders. We call them our second responders. So we reach out to them and make sure they are aware of the nuances of electric buses and they are equipped with how to handle them or how to report it to the first responders if they aren't able to handle a situation. Not everything is an emergency situation, but we want to make sure that they're equipped with them and they're also able to fix certain situations or certain breakdowns of the buses as they occur. Another thing that I'm particularly excited for is the partnership with our local universities and colleges. So we have we're developing a workforce development program with in partnership with the colleges and the universities to be able to create a robust workforce development that can support battery electric buses. So uh, we've had internal combustion engines for a while, so it's not hard to sort of find a technician or an operator who has already had some experience with that. With battery electric buses in our aggressive position to transition to full electrification, we will need a workforce to support that. So it's probably one of the best ideas to have a workforce development training the workforce to be able to hit the ground running and understand how to be able to be a pioneer in this area and provide us the support needed to maintain current operation. Some challenges ahead that I put on this slide that I think as the guy really working on this electrification is one of the things that keep me up at night is bus range. Right now we have 525 kilowatt hours battery pack, and with that we get roughly about 150 kilowatt, 150 miles in the winter, on a conservative measure, and about 200 to 220 in the summer. So that's just the bus range that we get now with the 525 kilowatt hours. But with the diesel buses, range isn't exactly a limiting factor, right? Because once you put fuel in the buses can go as long as the fuel is there. So we have a capacity, we have a range issue, a range limited issue that we're working with the manufacturers to sort of figure out what's the best way we can get the most range out of the bus. So one of the ways that you can do that is improve the trainings on the buses. So the operators that driver training, driver maneuverability actually can affect how long the bus can go on the road, right? That's some of the things that we've engaged some consultants to give us some information on what's the best way to get more range out of the buses. But range is definitely something that's on our horizon. If we're going to fully electrify our fleet, we want to make sure we also have enough capacity to transport passengers as will be needed to from home to work, from work to the hospital, or from home to the grocery store. So power availability is the other thing that we're looking to make sure that we have. So power availability being having power come in from the electric utilities. And we have we're engaged with the Eversource and the UIs, and they're coming to the table with a lot of innovative ideas on how to bring the power to the facility. And our assistant administrator Graham and Pete Montana is working with them closely to make sure that they have the necessary availability power to bring to the facility and help us charge the buses once the power is there. On route charging. So as of now, we don't have any on route charging in the state of Connecticut, but we are planning one. There was a low grant awarded a couple of months ago that's going to electrify our entire fast track fleet. And a part of that program where, a part of that grant allows us to, we will, as a part of that grant, we'll be installing four on-route chargers along the fast track. So I shared the image earlier with the on-route, the picture of on-route. So we would have to work with the utilities to bring power to that particular section of the fast track, and also now install the charger there, and then make sure that we address the planning of it, which leads me to the other area is planning. So if the bus range right now, since the bus range is not fully compatible with internal combustion engines. So if we're let's say if we're 100, if we're doing 300 miles on an internal combustion engine, so that's the normal route plan. We have to kind of go back to the board, the planning board with our planning department to bring in some folks to figure out how to break up those blocks. So now instead of having one 300-mile blocks, we'll have two 150-mile blocks. So now the battery electric buses can definitely, on a conservative level, can definitely meet that range. So those are some challenges that we're looking to address in the next couple of years, and as we are moving away from our pilot to fully implementing the 61 buses by the end of the year. Spreading knowledge. we're not the only one agency in the country doing this. New York City Transit is right there. They're also electrifying. MBTA, Massachusetts also electrifying, also, and even throughout the country, California being chief on pushing the envelope on this. So we are reaching out to our partners and sharing knowledge and gathering knowledge, so that way we are not blindsided, and we have a lot of information as we're going along. And developing expertise, there's other things about these electrification that we didn't anticipate earlier on, like such as adding telematics to the buses that they can, so the telematics is the way of gathering data from the electric buses while they're on the road, their efficiency and how much power you're charging with it, how much power they need, and that telematics is giving us information on what routes to put. The data from the telematics gives us information on what routes to put them on. Other aspect is the charge management software. We have the telematics telling us how well the bus is doing. The charge management software also tells us or shows us the best way to optimize charging. So you're not charging 20 buses at the same time when you only need 10. So when you only need 10 for pull out in the morning, right? So that process will allow you to charge the buses that you need first. You would charge them at a faster rate, and the buses that will be deploying later on today can be charged at a slower rate. This allows us to not charge everything at the same time, potentially raising peak charges and saving the state money. So those are some expertise that we have and are in the process of developing. So we actually are well equipped to go forward with this program in an efficient way. Next slide. So the other aspect of this presentation, which I wanted to sort of give a brief overview on, is highway, the CTDOT. So we're in the public transportation division of transit and ride sharing, but our highway operations unit are also on a mission to fully electrify as well. So in the bureau and in their office, one of the missions that they need to do is electrify the entire highway operations, right? So some of the key functions that they do on their medium to heavy duty vehicles includes paving, line striping, drainage work, stormwater response, including snow and ice storm, traffic incident management, traffic signal repair, sign replacement, all other activities in states right away. So whenever there's a storm and any other situation that goes on throughout the state, these vehicles are out there, and they're out there for long periods of time, and we rely on them. So they're also part of the medium to heavy duty transition, and I wanted to just give a quick overview, a brief overview of that. Next slide. The current CTDOT highway maintenance fleet. So currently right now they have roughly 60 vehicles that are mace rack body or macing dump truck, which are roughly 14,000 to 16,000 pounds. 45 vehicles of the aerial truck, the small area truck, ranging from 16,000 to about 20,000 pounds. 68 vehicles of the crash truck from 20,000 to 26,000 pounds. 340 vehicles of the plow trucks, the single axle plow trucks, which ranges in weight from 26,000 to 33,000 pounds. And the large plow trucks now, which are in excess of 600 vehicles, which is over 33,000 pounds. So, and that's around that weighting, the weight of the large plow trucks, the 33,000 pounds is roughly around the same weight of a heavy duty transit bus. Next slide. So they had an early deployment of their electrification, and this in 2022, and this was the lessons learned from them. Based on what they gathered from their electrification, they were able to identify that the current experience is the industry currently experiencing longer, well, we've all been, at mercy of this ever since COVID, that the industry is experiencing longer, equipment lead time for large electrical equipment. Yeah, anything associated with EV charging, so be it switch gears, switchboards, or anything that sort of is in the electrification realm. There's been longer lead time, which adds on to the construction and the construction finalization portion of any electrification plan. Next is to meet the future expansion of the heavy duty side. Most of the DOT's fleet maintenance will largely depend on the manufacturer's ability to provide vehicles with gross weight GVWR above 8,000 pounds that has PTO, which is power takeoff functions, which the power takeoff functions are necessary for these vehicles and advancement of the and in the advancement of the availability of the charging infrastructure. So having PTO functions will be necessary to be able to convert maintenance vehicles to fully electric vehicles. And the charging standard will depend largely on the fleet requirements. So for the department, we've currently been installing level 2 and level 3 fast charging. And we'll right now for the department, the maintenance department, they will install level 2 and level 3 charging, which are 75 kilowatt hours, 75 kilowatts in charging capacity, and they're looking to scale that up in the upcoming year. So based on what they learned from the early deployment, it is possible to install these, but the range of the heavy duty trucks will possibly be a hurdle in the future. I'm sorry. Okay, well, so finalizing this presentation, I wanted to touch on some things that are a priority for us. So right now, the CTDOT is we are currently in an open docket with PURA and DEP. PURA being the Public Utility Regulatory Agency, and we're trying to finalize a rate design for medium to heavy duty trucks, medium to heavy duty vehicles, be it the maintenance vehicles that we touched on, or the heavy duty transit buses. And we're looking for an innovative rate design that meets our electrification and makes it economical for not only the transit agency but taxpayers also to pay to be able to pay for the EV charging whenever even on the light duty side. So this innovative rate design will enable the conversion of a statewide bus fleet to battery electric buses. Difficult under the current rate design to meet statutory and executive orders by 2030. So we're looking for PURA to help us have a full innovation of the rate design and be more favorable to us in terms of paying for the charging and the rate the demands going forward. We're also enabling this innovative rate design will enable the DOT to scale up investment in the medium to heavy duty and highway maintenance vehicles in conjunction with DCT DOT's capital plan conversion of infrastructure to be able to support the zero emission vehicles and market availability of sustainable vehicles. The PTDOT, our goal is to maintain. Our goal is not only to maintain service level, which is necessary, but in some cases, at least on the transit side, we're looking to expand service levels too. So it is important that we do this in a not only a cost-effective way, but in an efficient way that public transit users or maintenance facilities are not hindered in their application of their operation, right? So we don't want to be able to have fully electrified, but yet not pull buses off the road, or fully electrify the maintenance vehicles, but have to pull back because of some unforeseen emergencies. So the idea is to do this in an efficient way, conservative yet efficient way, so that way we can save money, but also go green in the process. Next slide. And that concludes my presentation today. Thank you guys for having me. Sorry about the technical difficulties earlier on, but I am here to answer any questions that anybody has.
You can ask a question by using the raised hand function or typing in the chat for our attendees. Looks like we have our first question. It's from Zachary. If diesel buses are swapped out for BEV or battery electric buses in a one-for-one manner, will the battery electric bus fleet be able to provide the same level of service that is currently being provided, or will there need to be more buses added to the fleet in order to accommodate for charging time and distance restrictions?
So based off right now, based off of preliminary accounts, the BEV, based off of the current BEV fleets, the BEVs are not able to do that in a one-to-one manner. However, as we're scaling up to full electrification, we're noticing that the industry is getting better with battery technology. So when we first bought our buses in 2020, those buses were for essentially the RFP was out for 440 kilowatt hours battery capacity. By the time we got the buses, we got 525 kilowatt hours battery capacity. We just finalized an RFP early on in 2023. And in that RFP, we're able to secure 660 kilowatt hours capacity. So as you can see, the industry is trending in a way where the capacity is getting higher and the batteries are becoming more efficient, especially with all the investment that's going into this area. So I don't think it's out of the question to say within a couple of years, we might be at 800 hour battery capacity or even 900 battery capacity. Actually, on some accounts, Proterra, which unfortunately went out of business last year, had a battery capacity on 733 kilowatt hours. So as currently now, the electric buses are now one-to-one with diesel, but as it expands in the future, yes, I believe there will be, because the capacities are getting better, the batteries are getting lighter, and we'll be able to make that one-for-one swap. But there is no plan of adding additional buses just for the sake of converting to electric vehicles. The idea is to maintain the current fleet quantity, and right now we're breaking up the blocks to meet those current routes. But in the future, we're looking to see how the battery capacity will meet the demand of the current time.
It looks like the follow-up question is, what funding sources, state or federal, has CTDOT tapped into to purchase battery electric buses, charging infrastructure, associated trainings, and et cetera?
Well, chief among those funding sources are the loan note grants. So the DOT has been applying and successfully getting loan note grants competitively with your grants across the country. So one of the funding sources are those. But we also have 5311 funds, which are they're what's the word? They're standard formula grants that we are applying also to internal combustion battery electric buses, zero emission buses. So those are the funds, the chief of the funding sources that we've been using. We're also working on them adding the battery electric buses into our capital, since it is a part of the legislative mandate.
Perfect. And I am not seeing any other questions in the chat or any hands being raised. So I'll just give everybody one last opportunity to raise their hand or type a question, and then we will. And if there are no more questions, we'll conclude the presentation.
All right, well, thank you guys for having me. I'm hoping that, I hope this was very informational. Again, my name is Romain Kamara. If you have any questions, that comes up later, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email, or I'll be sure to answer any questions.
All right, thank you all very much for coming.